Everyone, so let me know if a screen is visible or not, so we can start. And on left side I have my another laptop where I will be seeing the comments and everything so that we can be on same page. Hello Mesh. Hello Pinder. Am I audible? Just confirm that if I'm audible. Hi Santosh. Let's wait for a few minutes so everyone joins and then we'll start. Okay, thank you. And yes, we are going to talk about a little bit about the market scenario as well. And one more thing that I actually wanted to talk about. Hello. Yeah, one more thing that I wanted to actually talk about is that the DevOps as a career. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Bro, this is the only voice that I have, and I'm using a good mic, so it should not be. Is it really low? Hello, 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 hello. Hello, Eric. I think you pinged me today, Eric. Okay, let's wait for 1 2 minutes more. Thank you, Google, for confirming. I just found it this way that I can share my screen also, I can share my face also, and then we can like do a live session. Okay, so it's actually quite useful. If I want to do something live or teach something live, I can do it through this method. But I was still finding a way, or I'm still looking for a way using which actually we can converse also, so that if you are having any specific questions, you can directly ask me through mic. But I'm not able to find any such way. But yeah, we'll see. Do like this session so that this videos get good like attraction in YouTube. Okay, basically what we are going to okay, so we are it's 10 p.m. Okay, so talking about what exactly we are going to cover, so I'm going to explain you about real-time workflow, how things happen in DevOps. That you, because obviously if you are going to learn DevOps, first thing that you should know is how actually it works. Okay, so that we are going to cover. And someone just pinged above talking about, bro, please make a video on Azure DevOps day-to-day activities. So yeah, definitely it's a good option to make. And because like in my current organization I work on mainly Azure DevOps, and I handle around 30 plus projects actually. So I can make a very good video. Okay. And before we start, I wanted to talk about few things like many of you were asking like why I'm not doing YouTube full time. Okay, one of the main reasons that I don't want to do this YouTube full time, because since beginning as a fresher I started working as a DevOps engineer, right? So from the beginning, like I have been working in DevOps project, and I know how things happen in DevOps real time, right? What we see on YouTube, there is a big difference between real time things versus the YouTube things. Okay, so if I'm not working in a company, Most of you already know where I work, one of the biggest or the biggest consulting firm I work at. So if I leave that organization and I start doing YouTube full time, I won't be getting more in-depth knowledge in real-time environment, which I don't want. So if because my target is to teach, be it paid course, be it free on YouTube, or be it anywhere. So if I want to teach something good, and if I want to teach you real times, because my whole channel is about real-time scenarios. So if I want to teach something good and real time, then if I'm working already in something, some place, seeing how real environment exists, then only I can teach you those kind of things, right? That is one of the reasons that I'm not planning to quit even anytime soon. Okay, okay, and we have 36 people with us. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's start. Okay, let me. I'm able to read your comments so on the second laptop, so you can just ask any questions if you are having here. Okay, okay, so let's start. Okay, first thing that we should know, what exactly is DevOps? Okay, so first of all, understand this part that DevOps is not a single tool. It's not a single tool. It's not a basically group of tool also. Okay, it's not a group of tool also. It's a basically a flow, uh, a flow as well as it's a process. Okay, when I say flow as well as process, so it means that it's a way to do something. Okay, and when we have DevOps, that means mainly we are focusing on build and deploy and manage. Okay, these are the main three things, the base things that we do with respect to DevOps. The focus is to we can write the source code for the application, build it, then deploy it on some cluster, and then make sure that it's running fine afterwards also. That means we can manage it or monitor it. Anything you want, you can say, right? So that is what DevOps is. DevOps is a way. Now I said, okay, it's a way, it's a process, it's a flow, right? Now one more thing that we need to keep, if we are following DevOps process or flow or way, basically, so we need to follow the best practices. That is one of the very key point of DevOps, because if I'm going to do something, I need to follow the best practices. That means whatever we do, if we are building application, if you are going to deploy it, if you are going to manage or monitor it, we need to follow the best practices, the best way to do it. This whole process along with best practices, along with following security practices. Okay, security practices, this is what DevOps is about. It's a way. DevOps is a way which is basically involves building application from scratch, deploying it on some cluster, then monitor or managing it afterwards. That whole process is DevOps. Okay, one other thing that you should know, DevOps, as you see, the general definition that you will be able to see everywhere, is that DevOps is composed of two words, right? Dev plus ops. Dev is development. Okay, dev is development, ops is operations. Now obviously okay, development usually developers do, but in reality DevOps definition, it involves development also. That means a DevOps engineer should be able to perform development as well. But in general, as we talk about DevOps, we only use operations. Okay, and in most organization, it's assumed also, it's like accepted that okay, DevOps person should be more capable or more active in operations. So we just go in that flow only. Okay, so this is why DevOps. Okay, now talking about, okay, uh, if any specific questions anyone having, we can take them. Anyone having any specific questions? Because now what I wanted to show you is how exactly DevOps task happen, how exactly what is the flow. Okay, no questions, so we can proceed. Okay, so two scenarios we are going to work with. First scenario, I'll be explaining about exactly from scratch, like some application needs to be built and deployed, and that is to be done for the first time, that also from scratch. Second scenario would be like application is already deployed. Okay, application is already deployed, and like we joined the company as a DevOps engineer, then how task will be there, right? Okay, so let us understand first of all first scenario, from scratch. So okay, let's say we have some client, we have DevOps engineers, we have developers. Okay, and the task is that we have specific application that we need to build, deploy and manage it or monitor it. Okay. So first thing that will be happening is client is going to give us some requirements. It's going to explain us about the application. Okay. And uh, like some other description with respect to the application the client is going to give us. Okay. No, Abhilash, we do not need DSA for DevOps interview. Okay, so this is what client will first give. So as soon as we receive, like let's say our organization receive this information, then the architect of our project, okay, architect and some senior members along with the junior members, everyone is going to like together there will be a meeting where things will be decided. What things will be decided? Ki where what exactly will be the infra? Okay, what tools we are going to use? Okay, sorry. Okay, and like where exactly we are going to deploy? Okay. These things, then proper estimation will done ki how much time this will take, how much time this will take, how much time this will take. Then again like other things like ki what kind of pipeline will be using. Okay, what kind of pipeline will be using, those kind of information will be discussed. Okay, and after multiple discussions it will there will be things finalized. Okay, let's say we have finalized some things. Okay, what things we finalized? We finalized that uh, we are going to set up an infra, and the infrastructure for the application should be within company network. This is the first priority of any company. Within company network, whatever you are going to do, it should be within company network. That is the first priority of any like any organization. Okay, so this was decided. Secondly, infra. So infra, for infra maybe they said okay, we are going to use AWS EKS. Okay, AWS EKS, but again this EKS cluster should be inside company network and should not be accessible from outside. Okay, that we decided infra. Talking about tools, so let's say they said okay, we are going to use Jenkins, we are going to use GitHub for storing code, we are going to use SonarQube. Okay, so and so whatever tools is there, that part is decided. Okay, then so this is like this is the first phase of, you can say DevOps part. Okay, whole project part we are talking about. Okay, this is the first phase, so we can call it as phase 1. Okay, now talking about phase 2, so what is going to happen in phase 2? So see, we are talking about like application that we are going to do from scratch. Okay, we are talking about that. So in phase 2, what is going to happen? There will be a infra team. Okay, infra team who is going to focus and start working on creation of infrastructure. Okay, infra team is going to start with the working on this in creation of infrastructure. This involves like everything. It involves like creating of, let's say, EKS cluster. Okay, before EKS cluster they are going to create environment, basically like network environment. What will be the network, which like how much like what basically the infrastructure environment they are going to create. Okay, then again they are also going to, since we have already decided okay, we are going to use set up Jenkins, these tools, so they are also going to set up these tools also. Everything is going to be set up whatever is needed. Okay, at the same time the developers of the project, they will start on the source code, writing the source code for the application. Source code, sorry, sorry about that. See, I'm not very habitual of writing using this pentap thing, so sorry about that. So developers will start writing source code for the application. Okay, this will be start happening, and side by side a DevOps engineer, as a DevOps engineer, still we should be in initial, completely initial phase, we are going to explore, because we do not have the source code as of now, we do not have the Jenkins and everything ready, so we are going to explore basically in what ways we are going to proceed. Okay, so okay, this is done. Now let's say after this thing, what happens, what tasks were completed in this phase 2? So infra was created, like all these tools were created, EKS, Jenkins and everything is created, right? And developer, let's say, they have written the source code, they have completed writing source code. Okay, so these two tasks are completed, right? So next step, what is going to happen, I'll tell you. So developer, what he's going to do, developers, what they are going to do, they are going to, once they have written the source code, application source code is written, so they are going to run the application in their local environment. When I say local environment, that means in their laptop, it's laptop itself. Okay, the purpose of doing that, ki before we deploy our application anywhere, we should test it in our local environment if it is working fine or not. That is the purpose. So this part, first, after the application source code is written, developers are going to test it in their local environment. That is the first thing. So let's say developer, they have successfully executed the application in their local environment, and now they are assured कि okay, application is working fine, right? Next step is to push the source code on some source code hosting repository sort of thing. For example, GitHub. Okay, so either developers can push the source code to GitHub repository, or what developers can do, developers can raise a ticket. They can raise a Jira ticket, and this Jira ticket will be having description of task to be done. Description like key first will be like push the code, okay, and then will be create this CI and CD pipeline, right? So let's say this is the thing, right? So once we developers have written the source code, let's say they created a ticket, and okay, okay, so like developers has completed the writing source code, and let's say there is ticket, and ticket was assigned to our DevOps engineer. Like let's say I am going to work, so ticket will be assigned to me. Okay, first thing that I am going to do is push the source code. Okay, source code, I push the source code to GitHub. That is the first thing I did, right? After that, what I'm going to do, and also remember this kit, testing team or developers, whoever is responsible for writing the test cases, they have written the test cases. Okay, so that is also present in the source code. So after source code is present in GitHub, next thing is to create the pipeline. This will be CI pipeline. Okay, so in CI pipeline, what we are going to do, we are whatever application we have, first of all, we are going to, in first step is to clone the repository. Sorry, let me make it a little bit clear. Okay, so first step is to clone the repository in our Jenkins or whichever CI/CD tool we are using. First step is to clone the repository. Second step is to install dependencies. Install dependencies. Now, you might be thinking, what exactly is dependency? So basically, let's say, for example, let's say we are working with a Java-based application. Okay, so obviously to support that application, so that the application can work well, there are many dependencies. In in Java-based application, we have pom.xml file. So that file contains the information about all the dependencies that are needed for the application to work well. Okay, so in order to use that application properly, we need to install those dependencies. Okay, now dependencies, it's not just those like for Java, it's like dependencies mentioned in the pom.xml file. For Node.js, we have dependencies mentioned in the package.json file. For .NET based project, we have dependency. Let me write it somewhere. For Java base, we have dependencies mentioned in pom.xml. For Node.js based application, we have dependencies in package.json. For .NET application, we have a file with an extension csproj. So application dependency will be mentioned in these files for this respective programming based applications. Okay, so we are going to download the dependencies, right? Or as well as dependencies plus tools that are going to be needed for build and deployment of the application. So that also is going to happen in the second stage. After that, what we are going to do, we are going to compile the source code to check if there is any syntax based errors, like if the command is wrongly written, if some like comma is missed or something. So that we can find out with the help of compile step. Okay, after that, we are going to perform the unit test cases. Okay, unit test cases. So we might have written unit test cases for our application, so that we are going to, so yeah, so unit test cases we might have written, right? So if we have written unit test cases that are going to be executed next. After that, what is going to happen? So after that, what we are going to do is perform a file system scan. Okay. When I talk about file system scan, what exactly is going to happen? So it is possible that in our source code, there could be some sensitive data. When I say sensitive data, that means there could be some credentials exposed, written unsecurely. Okay. As well as we can, using the file system scan thing, we can scan the dependencies also. Okay. So when we talk about like scanning dependencies, what exactly do we mean? Okay. So scanning dependencies means ki if any dependencies like we are using outdated version, if it is not from a trusted website, if it is not secure, so those kind of information we can find using this file system scan. So file system scan can be done by a tool like Trivy can also do, as well as OWASP dependency check can also do. Okay, but I would recommend to go with Trivy. It's like much better and format is much better. Okay, but still many organizations who are still working with the older versions, they are still using OWASP depend. Both are actually fine only. Okay, my personal choice is Trivy. Okay, so understand the file system scan is scanning the source code to find if there is any sensitive data in our source code, or side by side it's going to scan the dependencies of the application. Okay, so after this is done, we are going to perform sonar cube analysis. So when I say sonar cube analysis, you know what exactly is going to happen with respect to sonar cube analysis. So like our source code, we have this source code. Okay, so it is possible ki in our source code there could be issues like we could have bugs, we could have code smell. Okay, we could have vulnerabilities. Okay, these kind of issues we may have in our source code. So how are we going to find that? We are going to find that through sonar cube analysis. Okay, okay, for those who are unaware about bugs, code smell, vulnerabilities, so let me tell you, vulnerabilities is a point which is vulnerable. Okay, which is like there could be some attack can be done. It's like very weak point, you can say. Okay, that is like vulnerabilities. Then we have code smell. So inside our source code there could be some points which is not currently very like vulnerable or not causing any issue, but in future it may be issue. Smell, you can say ki, we say ki, okay, we are smelling danger. Okay, when we say ki we smell danger, that means ki as of now there is no like bad happening, but in future something could bad could happen. So that is code smell. Okay, we could in future there could be some issue at the point. Vulnerabilities is the vulnerable point or weak point in the code. Then we have bugs are like specific errors that may cause some like misfunctioning of our specific code. Okay, so these things will be able to find with SonarCube. In addition to that, there is one more thing that SonarCube is going to help us find, which is code coverage. Okay, now code coverage, what exactly is code coverage? When we talk about code coverage is nothing. See, when we run the unit test cases, right? So what is the purpose of having test cases? It's going to test the functionality of the code, right? So how much like code is covered by test cases, by running test cases. That means how much like let's say we have 100 lines of code, right? So by running the test cases, we were able to test around 80 lines of code. So that means we have checked the functionality of 80 lines of code. So that 80% is this 80, it's going to be in percentage format. This 80% is going to be called as code coverage. This much amount of code is covered by running the test cases. Okay, and that is code coverage. So these two things, this is code quality check. This like finding these things is known as code quality check. When do we say ki code quality is good? Okay, when these things, bugs, code smell, vulnerabilities, these are very less, then we say ki okay, it's like code quality is good. Okay, then we have code coverage. Code coverage, as I explained, ki the percentage of code that is covered by running test cases, that is code coverage. So SonarCube is going to do these two things, right? Next up, so next up we are going to build the application. When I say build the application, that means we are going to package the application in some executable format. Executable format. When I say executable format, for example, let's say I am working with a Java based application. Okay, so when I run the command key mvn package, when I run this command mvn package, so it's going to build the application and generate a file in the format of jar, right? Now if I want to execute this jar file or run this application, I can simply run the command java -jar, then name of this file like app.jar. If I execute this command, my application will be running. That means this is the executable application, executable file, which we are also going to call as artifact. Okay, application artifact. So once we have built the application, we have the artifact ready. And you see, for different programming languages, artifacts are going to be different. There can be sometimes like zip file also. We can make sure we have the artifact in the format of zip, that we can do. So, you know, we can have multiple versions, right? Let's say one time I ran. So one time I build the application artifact generated app.jar, right? Second time we made some changes in our source code. Second time we built. So this time this will be different, right? app1.jar something. So these are like two versions. So how do we maintain multiple versions of the source code? So for that, sorry, multiple versions of the artifact. For that, we have a next step, which is known as, let's say, artifact management, you can see. Okay, so basically what we do, we store multiple versions of these artifacts inside a tool like Nexus. There are multiple tools like Nexus, JFrog, Artifactory. They are all of them are used to store these artifacts, multiple versions. And this is how we can decide, okay, which version I want to install, like use for deployment. So that is how like artifact management will be done. Okay, let me go to next line so that I can show you more. Okay, till here, this is what happens. Let me summarize everything again. First thing that we need to do is push the source code to a code hosting repository like GitHub or GitLab or Bitbucket, anywhere. Next step, using a CI/CD tool, we are going to create a job or pipeline. First step in that pipeline is going to be cloning of the repository. After that, next step is going to be installation of dependencies or the tools that we might need to use in our pipeline, right? These two things is going to happen in the second stage. Third stage is going to happen, basically we are going to compile the application, compile the source code, not the application, source code, to find out if there are any syntax based errors. What exactly is syntax based error? That means, let's say I'm writing a Java based application, so at the end I forgot to put this comma, right? So these kind of like syntax based errors are, you can say. Okay, so this will happen. After that, the test cases that has been written, unit test cases, that we are going to execute to check the functionality of the code, if it is working fine or not. After that, we are going to perform a file system scan. When I talk about file system scan, that means we are going to perform a check on our source code, first of all, to see if there is any sensitive data, like if there is like password or token is stored in our source code, which is not a good practice, right? That we can do. Other than file system scan, a dependency check is also going to happen, which is going to check that, like, see, as I mentioned, dependencies are mentioned in these respective files for respective programming language based applications, right? So for this, this dependency check means ki in this, whatever dependencies are being used in the project, it will find out if those dependencies are from trusted place, those dependencies are like not outdated, or those dependencies are not like having any kind of vulnerabilities, like they are not they are already having issue. Okay, so those things we are going to find in file system scan. After that, sonar cube scan, what we are going to do, perform code quality check to find these things, and core coverage to find the percentage of code that is covered by SonarQube. Sorry, percentage of code that is covered by running the test cases. Okay. After that, we are going to build the application to get an executable format of the application, like jar file. If we have, like, I think in .NET, I'm not sure, but I think it's like DLL format or some other format. So we can get those kind of executable application format. Okay. After that, it is possible that we may have multiple versions of the application executable format. So what we do, we push those artifacts to Nexus so that later we can decide which version we want to deploy, right? So this is first thing. And let me just create another again so that we can continue. First uh, was in our, we are in talking about CI and CD, right? So first was cloning the repository, right? Next was install. See, for the team, I will tell you one thing. Ki this what I'm teaching, it's real time. This is how things happen in companies, and that's why I still work in companies so that I can see these things. I can learn more. Okay, along with tools that we need to have installed this, right? After that, we are going to run compile so that we can find out if there are any syntax based errors. After that, unit test cases, right? And after this, what we are going to do, after unit test cases, we are having file system scan, and after that sonar analysis, right? After that, build the application, and after that we are going to uh, use Nexus to store the artifacts, right? So this is done, right? After that, what we are going to do, in companies we do not use the like a Docker Hub public repository, we use a like a private Docker Hub repository. So what we are going to do, we are going to use Docker file to create Docker image. Okay, we are going to perform like create Docker image, and then we are going to tag it. When I say tag it, because tagging is necessary, because if you are using like private Docker Hub registry or private Docker registry, so the image name should be specific format. The form, see, in case of private Docker registries, let's say ki Docker registry URL is something like this, ki abc.com. This is the private Docker Hub registry. Okay. So in order to make sure that we are able to push to this, what we are going to do, we are going to, in companies, what happen, I'm telling you, usually the naming of the Docker image is going to be something like this, ki abc.com, then Adi Jaiswal, okay, then some tag. So we can identify that this is for our private Docker Hub registry. Okay. This is how basically we are going to tag. Okay, let me remove this so that space can be available for me to write. Okay. Okay. Coming back. So once we have tagged it, next what we, before pushing, what we are going to do, we are going to yeah, like run a Docker image scan. Image scan, you can do this using tool like Trivi. Now many of you thinking, okay, what exactly do we scan in Docker image? So let's see, when we create Docker images, we have a base image, right? Let's say I'm having a Alpine Linux. Like Alpine Linux, we have several commands, right? So Docker, what Trivi scan, what it's going to do, whatever files we have, first of all, it's going to scan that. But most importantly, it needs to scan this base image. Why? Because we need to make sure we have a base image from a trusted source. Because by default, let's say I want to use Ubuntu image, right? So either I can use Ubuntu official image, right? Official image I can use, but the problem is if you are going to use official image of Ubuntu or any other base image in your Docker file, it's going to be very big size. Okay, that is one of the problem. Usually people, you might have not have seen people using the official images. It's very big size. Okay, so obviously nobody wants that their Docker image should be very big, right? So that is one of the reasons that we don't use like official images. Generally we use Alpine images. Alpine images are very small in size. For example, if I use official image, it may be size like maybe up to 1 GB, while Alpine image, if I use it, the size of base image, it will be just like sometimes it may be like 10 MB, okay, sometimes it may be 100 MB, but in reality it will be much lesser than the official images. Okay, so that is one thing. And yeah, Trivi can scan these things, these are, if base images are from like official from the trusted source, these are like they're not having any kind of vulnerabilities, those kind of things we can find with respect to by using Trivi. Okay, after that, what we have, after that we push the Docker image, push Docker image to our private Docker Hub registry or private Docker registry. After that, what we do, we create the YAML manifest files. Okay, YAML manifest files for deployment. For example, if you are going to deploy to Kubernetes, so we will create the YAML manifest files, and then we are going to deploy. We can run the command as kubectl apply -f, then the file name. Okay, and this is how, like in generally we deploy. But after deployment, immediately what we do, at least in my company, what we do, we run commands like kubectl, no, sorry, after deployment, next step, like not next step, in the same stage, we are going to run this sort of command, sleep 60. Basically what it does, because when you are going to deploy a Kubernetes file, the pods and services may not be immediately getting up or getting started, right? So what we do, we run this command sleep 60. That means Jenkins or whichever CI/CD tool we are using, It's going to wait for 60 minutes before running the next command. And next command we run as like kubectl get pods, okay, and in specific namespace, okay. This will do. So in that way, now using this command, one second, let me yeah. So in that way, we can see ki, okay, my application, my pods are up. That we can see the status we can check. And final step is to two things. First, basically this last stage is known as post actions. Okay, two main things that are supposed to be inside this section. First thing that is going to be is like mail notification. Okay, so in mail notification we are going to receive the status of the deployment. Status of this pipeline. If pipeline is success or not success, we are going to receive that information. And we can configure, we can customize our post actions so that we can receive the whole pipeline log also, so that we can find through email itself, okay, what exactly is the issue. And second thing that we are going to do is clean workspace. Okay, when I talk about cleaning workspace, that means, okay, so many comments are there, bro. So when I say clean workspace, that means that we are going to remove whatever files we created, local files, that is going to be cleared. Why we need to do it every time? So that we can save some space, because every time if you are running build again and again, so much space is going to be occupied, because the files like this artifact, they are going to be created, right? So this we are going to do, and this is the general process that happens. I'm not saying this is 100% correct. This is the general process that happens in every company for creating the pipelines. Okay. Now, I'll tell you one more scenario that we use actually in our company. All these stages you see, so many stages are there. Okay, and we may have multiple environments also. Correct, multiple deployment environments we can have, but it's not possible and it's not a very good practice every time we are going to run every step in all the environments. Okay, it's completely our choice. What we did, for example, like let's say we have test cases, so here we define ki if our branch is, let's say, branch is qa, then only this stage is going to run. Okay, that we have conditions, right? So that, because testing we don't want testing to run in lower environment everywhere. So to see the test cases while running the qa, like qa in qa environment, for deployment to qa environment, we make sure okay, this will run only when branch is qa or like prod or production. These two places we are going to run unit test cases. Similar for others, so whichever specific stage we did not require in all the environments, so based on branch names we can decide which stage will run while using which branch. Okay, and that is like completely customization. That's what happened in real times. Okay, real times we don't know, we are not running everything together, okay, for every time. No, that's it, like that's how actually we did. Okay, so this is the general thing. Okay, this is the scenario where I was talking about, like okay, okay, 51 people are there, nice. So this is the general scenario where, like, when you go into new project, new application needs to be getting started for deployment and everything. This is how the process goes. Okay. Talking about second thing, which is like, let's say you joined a company where the application is already deployed and there you need to work on it as a DevOps engineer. So there basically it's going to be almost same process, but it's like a yeah, uh, developers, they will complete their task and they will raise a ticket, Jira ticket, and that ticket you can take or you can assign to some other DevOps engineer, and then all the description will be there ki what changes are going to be deployed. So what we need to do, we simply need to see all complete CI and CD pipeline will be, okay, just to update here. Yeah, this was CI and this whole thing is CI CD together. Okay. So yeah, once we get the Jira ticket and get the information, then we can simply start the CI CD pipeline to build and deploy. Okay, that is going to happen when you join a company where project is already deployed and you are not doing things from scratch. The kind of task that you might be doing in this company is that they may ask you to integrate some new tool, right? Integrate some new tool. Okay. The daily task that you are going to do is simply run pipelines, because pipeline is already created. If you're joining some new company where pipeline is already created, you'll be needing to like rerun it, right? Or at some point your manager may ask you, okay, we want to do something new, so let's test out some new application, test it, and then we can integrate, right? Or another thing that your manager may ask you, modify pipeline to make it more robust. Make it more robust. Robust is like making it more better, just making better. Okay, these kind of tasks, general tasks that you will be doing. Plus, like there will be other tasks like support also. See, no matter what kind of DevOps engineer you are there, you will be supporting a lot of things. You are going to support other people. You are going to support tickets also, because tickets are one way to basically, like, whenever any client faces any issue, so they are going to raise ticket. Okay, they are going to raise ticket, and then if you are available, you will get the ticket and fix the issue. That also happens in support role. Okay, and that, yeah, everyone does it. It's not a very bad thing or something. Even when I was a fresher, I also used to do support. Like when for me, most of DevOps I actually learned from troubleshooting, because if any issue is coming, obviously we need to troubleshoot and then we can fix. So it's a very good way to learn also. Okay, so yeah, this is how real workflow in companies happen. Real workflow. I'm not talking about YouTube workflow and all, but this is the real workflow that is going to happen in companies. Okay. And yes, team. So that's what I wanted to teach everyone today. And okay, okay, yes. Someone about DevOps market, right? Talking. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me increase my screen. Okay. So one second, one second. Okay, someone has asked how often do you release your source code? So Tej, actually, in current company, actually, number of times that we need to release source code, we do deployments on lower environments, or like almost everywhere. Okay, we do the deployment on lower environments like QA, PPD, and Dev on regular basis, but on prod deployment happens usually like once in a month, or like once in 2 months. It's like that. Not prod environment, like prod, we are not going to do every time deployment, right? Okay. Okay, team. Talking about DevOps market. So obviously two cases we have. One is like fresher. One is uh, okay. Sorry. Let me explain it better through the through my pen tab only. That will be much better. Okay. So let's talk about obviously there here are also two scenarios. One is like market for freshers and market for experienced people, right? Talking about fresher first, let's talk about fresher plus. See, for freshers, it's not it's a very good market. Immediately you will get selected as DevOps engineer. Okay, but for freshers the opportunity will be like very big if you are having this programming language plus DevOps. Now you might be thinking, why do I say that programming language plus DevOps? I say that because in uh, colleges, everyone is learning programming languages, DSA or SQL, those kind of things, right? DevOps is not so much popular there, but it's like if you know programming language, that means interviewer assumes that you are able to develop applications, right? So if you know this develop applications plus DevOps, it's going to be massive opportunities for you. Okay, it's going to be massive opportunities for you because you can literally build and deploy. Both kind of things you can actually do. So if you can do both kind of things, then opportunities is going to be much bigger. Okay, why do I say that this is good for freshers? Because usually as an experienced person, nobody wants to learn programming language if they are already into DevOps. Even I'm into DevOps. I just know the basics of programming language like Java or Python. I do not dive too much deep there. Okay. That's why I say if you are a fresher, you want to jump into DevOps or get better opportunities, this is what you should do. This is specifically for college people. I'm not talking about people who are like after 1 year or 2 year after college. This is about people who are in third year or fourth year. This is what you should do. Best opportunity you can get. Programming language plus DevOps, you can showcase, okay, this is the application that I have built, and this is how I deployed. This is the my own application. I did not got it from GitHub or somewhere. I created this application and I deployed this application by myself. This is how you are going to get opportunities. And talking about opportunities, so it's not you might have seen every day new companies are becoming, like getting created. Some are becoming unicorns, some are becoming this and that. Opportunities is there if you are having skill sets. The only everything is at the end, it's going to depend on skill sets. If you are having good skill sets, you are going to get lot of opportunities. Okay. Also team, like for fresher also, as a piece of advice to everyone, keep learning this. In addition to that, learn cloud also. Cloud, because when we talk about DevOps as a career, cloud is the future. Okay, I'll explain why cloud is future. That also I explain. For experienced people, opportunities are definitely there. It's not key opportunities are not there. Even I'm not even searching for job, but still on LinkedIn I get lot of opportunities, job opportunities, collaboration opportunities. Especially there was some time ago, there was some guy who was offering me some job in like Dubai, some AI based company, and I wasn't even looking to for a job. Okay, so opportunities is there because DevOps is something that is needed everywhere. No matter what kind of applications you are going to build, eventually that application needs to be deployed, right? So DevOps opportunity, it doesn't see, for example, like let's say if I'm Java programmer, so I can get a job at Java programming based applications, right? But if I am a DevOps engineer, I can deploy all sorts of applications, Java based applications, Python based applications, Node.js, everything I can deploy, right? So opportunities is there. Secondly, if you are thinking about making DevOps as a career, best opportunity is to learn cloud. Why I say cloud? Because you say, okay, let's assume a scenario where I have my own company and I have using all the tools on premises. Okay, I have an application which I'm going to set up Kubernetes cluster on my company, right? I set up using some virtual machines. I set up my own Kubernetes cluster. I deployed the application, right? And it's running fine, right? If it's running fine, sometimes because of some issue, what happened, it got crashed and it's not working anymore. So what I need to do, I need to figure out issue, I need to fix this. So it's a hectic task. Why? But at this point, most of the companies, what they are doing, instead of using local Kubernetes, they are going to go with cloud Kubernetes like AKS or EKS. The benefit of this is first of all, you don't need to worry about management of this, management of clusters. You don't need to worry about creation of this. You just need to provide the information key, how big a cluster you want. You don't need about creation. You don't need to think about troubleshooting the clusters, right? Or any kind of issues that is coming with respect to cluster. You don't need to worry about that. If your application is deployed on AKS or EKS, if something happens, Microsoft or Amazon, they are the ones going to fix it immediately. If they are not they are not able to fix it within limited time, they will help you some other way. They might, I'm not sure, but they might provide you some other cluster, like migrate your data to that cluster. So it's like you are set here. You are completely set. You just need to worry about deploying your application. That's what you're worrying about. So you only think, if I'm working on on-premises tools, I'm setting up everything myself, it's going to be like too much effort. But if you're working on cloud platforms, you are using cloud resources, half of the task is done by the cloud team. You just need to worry about setting up your application and deploying it, right? And that is the one of the reasons that I say most companies, they are migrating their projects to cloud, so that they can use cloud resources, save time, and they can reduce the downtime also. Okay, and that's why I say key learn more on cloud. Long ago I was just working with AKS, but from last 1.5 year I started working with sorry like initially I was working with Azure only, but from last 1.5 years I started working little bit more about AWS. So at this point I work on both the clouds. In office I work on Azure, but for my self learning I work and learn more and more for AWS. Okay, talking about market again. So learn for experience, this is what I would say, ki learn DevOps tools, all like whatever tools we have, different things. Okay, plus cloud, at least one cloud platform you should be proficient in. Okay, 1 second, let me. Okay, so this is what I can suggest you, ki if you want to make a career in DevOps for freshers, this is my suggestion. So this is my own opinion. Okay, if you think if I'm right, then you can follow. If not, then also fine. But this is my personal opinion. What I see in the market, that's what I'm saying. Okay. And yeah, for experience, DevOps plus cloud, and one of the most important thing for experienced people is that uh, don't you go to office? No, bro, I don't go to office. I have permanent work from home. Okay. So for experienced people, also, you should, if you are going to transition to DevOps, corporate understanding you should be having. Corporate architecture or corporate project understanding. I'm not saying ki you should be deploying the corporate projects, no, but you should be having a proper knowledge of corporate architecture. That's what I'm trying to say. There's so many questions are there. Let me see from top. So many questions we are having actually. So, see, team, whatever specific questions you are having, you can just ping me in Telegram. I'll try to answer as much I could. Okay. So this is what my suggestion would be for people who are going to learn DevOps or something. Basically, transition to DevOps or learn DevOps from scratch. This is what my suggestion would be there. For roadmap, actually, you might be able to find this on my website, devopshack.com. I'll share. I think in my Telegram group, I have added one PDF with complete things that you should focus on learning. It's also a syllabus of my batch 4. Yeah, for those who are interested in learning, you can just get enrolled. We are starting a new batch from 10th of March. Okay, it's not forcible, but yeah, if you like my teaching, you can just enroll and learn more. I can provide dedicated support there properly. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is what I would suggest ki for those who are going to learn, this is the way that you should learn. And in addition to that, already at this point, I hope that everyone understand the real flow, how things happen. Okay. Yeah, this should be very good and very useful for everyone. Okay. So okay, that was just 47 minutes. How much AWS, biggest challenge, how much AWS is required? How much AWS? It's not because there are some. I think 8 to 10 resources are there in AWS. That is like most important ones, which you should learn more and as much as you can. Your biggest challenge in DevOps? Actually, I don't think any biggest challenge is there in DevOps. There are certain topics that I'm not very proficient in, but yeah, I'm learning. Every day I try to learn new things, and still I'm learning those. And what should I say more? So yeah, check out everything in description. You might find some links useful. You can check that out, and make sure to join the Telegram group. It's like basically a doubt clearing group only. Everyone can post questions. Everyone can get opinions or suggestions for their issues. So it's really useful group. Okay, let me paste the Telegram channel link, so people who are actually looking for some good group, they can join this. Okay. And yes, I hope this session was useful for you. And I really, really hope ki this session was useful and you got to learn something. Okay. So yeah, team, that will be all for today. And I hope if you are having any specific queries, just ping me in the Telegram channel. I'll try to reply as much as I could. Okay. So yeah, that will be all for today. And yeah, check out that course if you are interested in learning. There is no uh, Ganesh Gani freshers job opening as Ganesh, as I just explained ki how you should proceed if you are going as a fresher in DevOps domain. So the way that I explained, tried that. Was it not challenge to learn Kubernetes? No, Nicola. It was, see, initially in initial days, na, everything is going to be challenging initial days, but afterward it becomes easier. Even at this point, I have full-time job. I do YouTube. I do I go dedicated training sessions one to one, not one to one, dedicated training sessions in my over my course. So basically, for me, it's like I still like sleep around like 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. every day. I keep learning things because for me, as I mentioned, if I'm training some people, unless I have real-time environment knowledge, I cannot teach the real things. Creating pipelines, everyone is creating on YouTube the pipelines, everyone is saying this and that, but real time, until unless you do not have knowledge, you cannot do anything. Trust me on that. Class time. Yes, Sumesh. So on course we have, see, my course syllabus is one of the biggest syllabus actually, and in order to make sure that we are able to complete the whole syllabus in time, what I do, I take live sessions on weekend, Saturday and Sunday, Plus, on weekdays, I'm going to share you some recorded custom videos. Custom videos means scenario based. No, Madhu, I sleep 5 to 6 hours, like 4 or 5 a.m. If I sleep, I'll be waking up at 10 a.m. And then in afternoon, I'll take 1 hour sleep, or evening also, I take 1 hour sleep. So in total, like 6 to 7 hours sleep, I do get. Okay. So yeah, timing will be weekends 8 to 10 p.m. Saturday, Sunday. On weekdays, I'm going to create custom videos for you to cover the more topics. And on every Wednesday, we are going to prepare like interview preparation we are going to do for every topic that we are learning on that week. Okay. And trust me, in this way we are able to cover the whole syllabus. Plus, yeah, in batch 4 in batch 4, I have one of my friend who is 10 years experience in DevOps domain. So in batch 4 he will be there to take mock interviews. Okay. Because I do not want to take mock interview myself, because I just have total 5 years experience. And I'm not sure like if this will be good or not. So it's better if someone is 10 year having 10 years experience can take the mock interviews. Climax, you have asked some question. I am mechanical dropout and now I am having my IT graduation. Can I apply for jobs with experience? No, Climax, I wouldn't suggest that. If you are not experienced, do not apply with experience. It's not so good. How to fake experience for DevOps role? No, Anil, do not do that. It's not so good option. Learn better, get skill sets, and you will be hired. Okay, that's the simple as that. Do not put fake experience. Yes, team. So that will be all for today, and I hope this was very useful session for you. Give it a like, give this video a like, as well as share it with your uh, friends. Nicola, K8 admin sort. I did not do that certification. Certification are not 100% necessary, but at least basic certification you should be having. Some class for DevOps engineers. So Tej, yes, along with our dedicated course, we are going to have interview preparation also. Certification like AWS and KIAT important. It's not 100% important, but you should be having basics. Basic certification is very important. Yes, team. So if any other question, just ping me in Telegram. It's fine. I'll be available to take questions. Okay. So yeah, that will be all for today. And thanks for joining, team. I hope this was really useful for you. So thank you and have a nice day.